this is Ted Kelly with another Ted's Hospitality Minute. Hey, today we've got a great guest on. His name is Jared Saft. He's with Westgate Resorts. He's a chief business officer. He's going to come on, talk a little bit about all the great things that are going on Westgate, and probably tell us a little bit about what's going on in the timeshare industry and how things have fared since COVID is starting to wind down, hopefully. Good morning, Jared. How are you?
Morning, Ted. Thank you for having me. Very excited.
Hey, man, thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time. We're very interested in learning more about Westgate Resorts and how you guys have fared during COVID. But before we do that, tell me a little bit about your hospitality journey and how you ended up with Westgate Resorts. And if I looked at the script right, it looks like you've actually managed a professional football team. So you've got some interesting, you got some interesting background there. So tell us a little bit about that.
You know, Ted, there's that thing at the bottom of every job description that says other duties as assigned. And I've made a career of falling into other duties as assigned. I wound up in hospitality like a lot of people. I fell into it, not by, choice. Obviously, I've made a career. I love it. But I actually got my master's in public policy and really intended to go into public service work. And by happenstance, as I was finishing my graduate degree, I had the opportunity to meet David Siegel, who's the founder and owner of Westgate Resorts. And he told me, and I'll never forget this, he told me I would save more lives if I went to work for him than if I went to go work for the government. And I thought that was really funny and bizarrely probably true.
Yeah.
And, that started my journey in hospitality. It was really with David and his team, and I fell in love with the energy and the culture and what they were trying to do. And just hospitality has this way of it's about embracing people, and it's about being a servant to other people, and really making other people happy. And for people who derive happiness from seeing other people happy, I can't imagine a better career. And so I started kind of on the financial strategic planning side, business operations side, did that for a few years, went through 2008, 2009, where obviously the entire sector kind of faltered a little bit. And that was the best learning experience of my career, was that few years where you were really trying to make every dollar work and every penny work and get everything right. The margin of error was about this. And so that was a tremendous opportunity. And then kind of after that, my mentor in the business left to take a role with Planet Hollywood. And it gave me the opportunity to step in and grow this, grow the company and be part of the leadership of the company. And it's been an incredible journey ever since. And I'm grateful to David and the entire Westgate family for embracing me and giving me such a great opportunity to be part of a really big private company that just moves. It's the size of a cruise ship, but we move like a speedboat, which is what makes it fun.
Oh man, that's awesome. So I think you guys have 27 locations?
Yeah,
right?
27 resorts, always looking for the next one. We've spent the past few years primarily focused on deploying capital at our existing resorts. So building water parks. We just finished a $12.5 million water park at one of our resorts in Orlando. Massive amounts of room renovations. I think we've spent a few $100 million in the past couple of years alone renovating rooms at our properties. We've got a $50 million renovation going on in Vegas right now. So that's really been the focus of the past COVID years, if you will, is using that as an opportunity to really upgrade the quality of our product and amenities on property, because we think we're pretty well suited for how people are going to vacation going forward.
Yeah, that was one of the things that when we started doing our hospitality podcast, one of the things that we emphasized the ownership groups back in late 2019, early 2020 was that if you were an ownership group and you had the funds and the capital to be able to do it, it was an excellent time to be upgrading and retrofitting some of your major mechanical systems at your properties, because you actually just had the bandwidth and you had the schedule to be to get it done, right? A lot of times, obviously with the renovation schedule, you're kind of always working around the occupancy levels. You're
Mhm.
trying to minimize the displacement, which is a business that we're always challenging,
Yep.
our owners, like, well, if you let us get this, we can be done at this time, as opposed to, well, if you keep us here, you're going to drag out the renovation and then it's going to be, a little bit longer. But yeah, that was a super smart move, I think, on your guys' part to try to deploy capital while you had that little lull in the industry and things could come back.
We talked about earlier, we focused on renovations and upgrades at our properties. A lot of our team members stayed on during that period and transitioned to roles that they hadn't done before in doing renovations and stuff like that. So that was a blessing. But for the most part now, I don't think we're having that issue too much. I mean, obviously, there's always kind of a churn and turnover in these positions, but I think we're at a point where it's much more normal than it has been. And I think we're, as an industry, kind of getting through that.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Did you guys have to struggle with any supply chain issues during your renovation period as well? I'm assuming you had some of those as well.
Absolutely. I mean, supply chain probably became one of the it's one of those things you don't think about until you have to.
Yeah.
And particularly where we became kind of geopolitical mavens, where issues in China related to furniture and shipping now become issues for America, or things you're getting from Mexico, and how do you shift to Vietnam? And so we never really in the past had to worry about those things too much, because there was, it's been a pretty frictionless supply chain world. And then this year it just kind of grind to a halt, or I should say last year. And we definitely have been working through those issues like a lot of others, but luckily I think we have a pretty big scale of buying power for an independent brand, and we've been able to source additional partners that have kind of met our needs. So it's certainly caused gray hair, but it hasn't stopped us from executing on our plan, which has been great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear. And I'm hoping that as industry wide, it's going to smooth out even more so with the supply chain king. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So I love your motto: good is never good enough, right?
Yeah.
What makes you guys unique? Because I mean, with a motto like that, I got to ask more questions, right? So tell me about that.
Yeah. So good enough is never good enough is from our owner and founder from 40 years ago, and it's basically his thought that the work is never done. That's a hard feeling sometimes, but it reminds you that there's always that next person, there's always that next thing you can do, there's always that next experience you can create. And to me, there's two types of people. There's the type of people who, and it's not a judgment, that there's people who want a very defined set of parameters for what they're responsible for, and then there's people who just want to run in a field. And good enough is never good enough is for those of us who we just want to keep running. And it doesn't mean we don't stop every once in a while and grab our chest and breathe heavy, but there is no end destination for us. It just keeps going. And what makes us unique is there's not a lot of very large family run, privately held hospitality brands anymore. They just don't exist. And so we have this tinge of entrepreneurialism that is like the DNA of our company that makes us different. It just that's who we are. And every dollar we spend, we say, is this a dollar that David would spend? Because it's a dollar that comes out of his pocket and his pocket alone. And so it's a unique exercise where you try to create budgets, but you also make sure you're not constrained by budgets. Because if something works, we want to push it, we want to throttle up until we reach a point where we've hit that denaturation point. And so that's what good enough is never good enough means for us and for me, and kind of how we look at the business.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like a real unique atmosphere, because in most places you got to run a lot of capital deployment type decisions. You got to run that up the flagpole, and sometimes that can be that could be mind blowing in itself, because you never know, and it can take forever to get back. So
I think,
that's
along that front, and this is a great example of that. We would rather make a mistake by moving too quickly and address it versus make a mistake or lose an opportunity by not moving fast enough.
yeah,
So we had a meeting last week. We're seeing a lot of success in the Smoky Mountain Gatlinburg market. Our CEO greenlit almost $40 million in new construction starting in January. It was a 2-hour meeting. So that's kind of how we want to move. We feel good about it. We think through all the different possibilities, and 40 million is now deployed to our development team to get rocking on that. So that's
wow.
that's our DNA. We move fast.
Yeah, and Gatlinburg is a great area. I'm over here in South Carolina, so I get the hype of Gatlinburg all the time. As a matter of fact, one of our previous guests was actually based in Gatlinburg. I think it was Margaritaville. But yeah, that's a great area to be doing some development work. So good luck to your team and area. Hope everything works out well.
Thank you.
Talk about some of your biggest successes since you've been at Westgate. What are some of the 1, 2, or 3 things that you're most proud of in your tenure while you've been there?
I tell my team all the time, you reach a point in your career where if you're lucky enough, you get the opportunity to pick the people that you work with. And I'm blessed. I've reached that point in my career, in my life, where everyone that's around me and that's on my team is someone that I want to work with. I look forward to seeing their face every day. I look forward to hearing what they have to do. And I would say that's the biggest success for me, is being at a point where I have a team that I could look around, and I just love being in their company. I love learning from them about Westgate. I love learning about them from things not Westgate. And we just have a really good time together. And I don't think there's any amount of money or any amount of opportunity that matters more than just being happy where you are. And so for me to, at this point in my career, be around a group of people that I genuinely enjoy every day showing up to the office and being with them, and I assume because they show up, they feel the same way, that's to me my biggest success. As a team, I mean, we bought the old Las Vegas Hilton and reflagged that Westgate. That's a 3,000 room integrated timeshare hotel, casino, restaurant business with the world's largest race and sports book. I mean, that has to be one of the most exciting things we've done as a company. I'm super proud of that. We've launched a national sportsbook company called Superbook, which is an offshoot of the business that we acquired when we went to Las Vegas. Generally, seeing the growth of the brand itself. When I started at Westgate, it was a lot of who's Westgate, and now it's, oh yeah, I've heard about you. We have a dude ranch in south. It's south of Orlando, about an hour south of Orlando, and we have glamping teepees and glamping tents and Conestoga wagons, and we've built all these incredible products that no one ever had built before. I mean, no one has ever built what we've built in some of these markets, and it gets me really excited when I go out there and people don't know who I am, and I see kids roasting marshmallows for the first time, or when kids are at our ski resort in Park City and they're going skiing for the first time. I mean, those are the things that make the hard moments worth it, because like I said when we started, this is about making people happy. That's what hospitality is. And if you don't derive joy from that, you're not going to be successful in this business.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of dovetails into what I would say Westgate's most successful post-COVID thing is, which is the world of Westgate. So we've talked for many, many years about building a loyalty program. We studied all the loyalty programs out there that our comp set had, and we wanted to design something that was special, unique, but actually created loyalty and value. And what we found is a lot of programs talk a lot about loyalty, but you have to be an insane level of loyalty to really get any level of benefit. And I'm a member of a lot of them. I'm travel a lot, both for work and for pleasure. And I often find myself being congratulated for having certain levels of status, but that's kind of where it ends. And so we designed a program that really is solely around creating benefits. So we took the old American Express Platinum, where you get a statement credit, and we built statement credits into our program for our highest tiers of membership. So if you are our elite level, every year you get a $200 statement credit that you can use at our restaurants. No questions asked. You can use it at our spas, at our retail outlets. And that's just our way of saying thank you. We're going to pick you up in a limo when you go to Vegas. We're going to pick you up. Again, no questions asked. We have a meet and greet where you're going to meet our executives, and you can yell it to me to my face, or you can smile at my face and tell me how good we are. But either way, I want to hear the feedback. We're not going to hide. We've created all different kinds of benefits, complimentary access to our water park, discounts on destination and resort fees. I mean, we really tried to load these things up, these different tiers, that everybody felt like they were getting something.
Right.
And it wasn't this constant carrot in front of my face that I never got to take a bite of. And so that's been incredibly well received in 5 months. So I think we hit 5 months about a week ago, and we have about 110,000 members in 5 months, which we're pretty excited about.
Right.
We think it's a really good start. I'm blown away by what the team has. I am blessed to kind of see what the pipeline is going forward, and I know kind of what the plan is. And I think our timeshare owners and our guests and our casino guests are all going to be excited. But what I'm most excited about is the next phase of our loyalty program is 100% focused on our team members. So rolling out in the fall, our team members, based on tenure, will get dropped into the different tiers of our loyalty program, which means that if you've been a team member for different time period, I think our 16 years or more is our highest tier. You're going to be treated exactly like one of our most valued customers. And I can't think of anything more rewarding so that then when you show up on property, we're going to treat you exactly the same as someone who has spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars with us every year. You guys, to us, you're the same. And so that's what's coming next in terms of World of Westgate. It's solely internally focused. And again, there's not a lot of big companies that would take the time or the capital to focus on something that is solely introspective. But once we got it live, we thought the next phase, it was important to take care of our team members.
Well, Jared, I definitely appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time, a quick overview of Westgate. The world of Westgate sounds like the next big thing out there. How do folks find you guys if they're looking to try to visit some of your properties, or want to reach out and talk to you further? Because I'm sure you're such a personable guy. You may get some phone calls directly from them.
Well, I try to talk to everybody. I do the best I can. Westgate, we're easy to find. I mean, our hashtags and our handles are at Westgate Resorts. WestgateResorts.com is our URL. You can find information about the loyalty program at worldofwestgate.com. And people can email me. I'm on LinkedIn. They know where to find me. And we get all manner of people, and we do the best we can to take care of everybody and hopefully give them some of that Westgate hospitality.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it again. Thanks so much for the time. This has been Ted with another Ted's Hospitality. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. We'll see you again next time.